As we begin our second hour, we have the opportunity to welcome back to the show head coach, technical director of El Paso Locomotive FC, Mark Lowry, along with a special player guest, Diego Luna, for the Mark Lowry Hour, where we talk Locomotive soccer and get you ready for the Chihuahuas right around the corner. You know, it's interesting, Coach. I was not expecting you. I was told you were going to be held up in traffic. So Diego was ready to start the show. We had already worked everything out. I told him how this whole thing was going to work. And I said, we'll do a reverse. We'll start with Diego. We'll bring Coach on after that. We'll do a little crosstalk. And then, as in clutch fashion, like this team is, because let's be honest, you know, you tie New Mexico United in the final seconds before that game ends. So as we're getting ready to start the hour, with the seconds remaining before we go live, who pops into the Zoom feed? You do. So very nicely done in a classic Coach Lowry dramatic fashion. You come through in the clutch, and you're here to start your own show today. So welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. It's good to be back. A little bit of traffic on the way home from the training ground, but got here, and it's good to be here on the back of 3 points with Diego, who's been doing great, and I'm looking forward to having this hour chatting with you and him and talking some Locomotive soccer.
I'm excited about that. And by the way, I mean, listen, what is traffic for El Paso? You know, you spent time in Jacksonville before here, and then obviously in Europe. Compared to all the places you've lived in before, would you say El Paso has probably the best traffic situation you've ever encountered?
On a normal day, yes, 100%. I feel like if there's an accident on one of the roads, you know, the roads are not 3, 4, 5, 6 lane highways, so an accident can back things up. But in general, it's the best place I've been for getting from A to B pretty quickly.
I'm with you on that one. And by the way, I'm happy you brought Diego onto the show, because there's a lot I still don't know about him. And the first thing would be how you found him, because I mean, let's be honest. You know, he's the youngest player ever signed, and he's definitely going to be a sought after commodity for years to come. So how did you and Diego first hook up in the first place?
So here's the story. A few months ago, we as a club decided to not shift our focus, because the focus is always on winning games and being the best USL Championship team. But, you know, there's a trend in US soccer now, in MLS and USL, for bringing young players through and, you know, ultimately moving them on to Europe. It's happened a lot over the last year or so. So as a club, we decided to put some attention into that, and you know, the USL is pushing young players, and with the USL Academy system now in place, that there's a real youth movement. So we looked at it and we were like, you know, we'll do this as long as we feel it's a player that's worth it, and a player that can come in and play and help us, because we're here to win games. There's some USL clubs that I feel operate, you know, for the community. Some USL clubs operate, you know, to fill a schedule. But I think we're a club that we serve the community, but we're ultimately here to win. You know, that was clear from day one. So we looked at it, and we looked at a couple of young players, and it was actually Richie Ryan that came to me one day. He has a friend that was Diego's coach at the FC Barca Academy. And Richie comes to me and goes, I think I've got a player. I know we're looking for young players. So I think I've got one that's really interesting. And, you know, he's got there's a lot of MLS clubs and USL clubs sniffing around him. Maybe we should look at it. So we did. We looked at it, and we watched a couple of his games, and we liked it. And we brought him in for a week to have a look at him and get to know him. And he did great in the training. And we felt that it was a really good fit for Diego, a really good fit for us. And Diego, like I said, had a lot of interest. It was being pursued by a few clubs, and we were fortunate enough that he enjoyed it here. We enjoyed having him, and it was a mutually agreeable partnership and relationship. And we ended up getting him here to stay, which was great.
I love the fact that Richie Ryan wears so many hats for you. He plays, he works with the youth and the development teams. He now helps scout for you. It seems like there's a lot of good extra responsibilities that Richie's taken upon himself to help out the club.
Yeah, that's Richie, and that's a lot of the guys. I think Diego will speak to this a little bit about the locker room that we have. We got guys that are really invested in being successful here, not for themselves, but for the club, for the team, for the community. So a lot of guys, particularly the more experienced ones, that they help out in a lot of different ways. And that might just be from carrying bags. That might be from helping the kit man. That might be from talking to me about tactics and the upcoming opponent. But there's a lot of investment from the players here, and it shows how much they care about the club and care about each other.
Diego, that was a nice introduction from Coach Lowry, kind of talking about what brought you here. When you first arrived and started working out with the club, could you tell that this was a place where you would fit in pretty nicely into the grand scheme of things?
100%. When I was brought in for a week, that week I knew after the third or fourth day that it was somewhere I wanted to be, and it was going to be hard to beat the community there, the soccer environment, and the players there, and everything there. That I really enjoyed it. So I knew once I left, I had a high note to see what could beat that.
You've had an incredible life so far. You're 17 years of age. You don't turn 18 till September, yet you've grown up in this sport and near the Bay Area. Tell our listeners a little bit about kind of your path as a youngster and what's led you here to El Paso.
Yeah, so I grew up in Sunnyvale, California, back in the Bay Area, and I played with the San Jose Earthquakes. I started off playing with Palo Alto Soccer Club under the coaching of my father and my oldest brother, and then until I was 12, and then I moved out to play with the San Jose Earthquakes Academy from 12 to 15. And when I was 15, I moved to Arizona, Casa Grande, Arizona, where I played with the Barca Academy, and then from there, now I'm here.
It's a crazy story for you, and I love it because obviously soccer has been in your blood since you were probably first walking, and it's because of your dad and your family and brother and what you've done. So how tough of a challenge was it trying to juggle your education growing up and your schooling with your ability to play?
It was definitely a challenge, but, as time went on, I got used to it, and I knew that my mom always said, you got to finish high school and stuff like that. But I knew, I wanted to pursue my soccer career and stuff like that. But it was always something that I kept in touch with, getting tutors, getting help from classmates, from teammates, from coaches, everything like that. But I always kept on top of it. And luckily I just finished high school, and I have a graduation on Friday or Thursday.
Congratulations on that. I know that's going to be a big achievement for you and your family, so that's great news. Was soccer always the one sport you gravitated to the most? Did you play other sports as well growing up as a kid?
100%. Soccer was the number one sport, and nothing else. I'd always like playing other sports, just with my brothers or, friends. I'd go out, play baseball, throw the football around. But soccer was the sport I took seriously and played.
Mark, this is the kind of story you want to hear because there are so many young athletes Diego's age that play a wide variety of sports and they dabble in everything, and then they'll pick one they like the best. But this is the great story of somebody that has been dedicated to soccer since he first started playing, and now you see what that's led to. Playing at this level at this age is so uncommon. But it goes to show you that when his ability really stood out at a young age and he continued his development, this is where he can end up.
Yeah, and I think all those things that Diego's done leading up to this point have prepared him for this. Talent will only get you so far. Like Diego's a talented player, but it's not the talent that enables him to come on in the last 5 minutes of the game this past weekend when there's pressure on and we're trying to hold on for the win. It's his maturity and his character. He's been away from home now for a while. That makes you grow up. You grow quickly when you're away from your mom and dad and you don't have that support around you. He's got older brothers that have pushed him. And, Diego's brothers are not just a couple of years old. They're quite considerably old. And I think that's actually helped Diego come into the locker room where there's guys, in their 30s that obviously have a different life and they've got families. And Diego's brother has a family. So I think his upbringing with his family and then moving away from home and being pushed in the FC Barca environment, having to kind of fend for himself at times, has equipped him to come into our environment now and succeed. And I think we're seeing that.
I love it. Diego Luna with us, along with Mark Lowry here as we continue on the show. So, Diego, let's talk about what that New Mexico United scene was like for you. You come on in extra time, and it was kind of wild, too, because you helped set up a goal that was scored by the old man on the team, Leandro Carrillo. So we've got the young and the old all teaming up together to tie that match and send the Locomotive home with a point, which was big for the fans, especially since it was happening right in front of their section. Take us through what that was like for you and how really you remained calm and collected, even though we're talking about the final minutes of that match.
Definitely, but first of all, it was a dream come true, making my professional debut and stuff like that. But through that moment, Eder got the ball out wide, and I was screaming at him to give me the ball, and I wanted to take that guy on. I saw all the guys pressure me. There was like 5 guys surrounding me, so I knew I couldn't take it in. So that meant there was space in the box and stuff like that. So I looked up and picked out Aaron, and I just cut it back and then found a little cross in there to the back post, and Aaron was very, good to get that header back across the goal to Leandro.
It's incredible. It's a big moment. And Coach, we talked about that the last time we did this 2 weeks ago, because you were just coming off that emotional draw and what that was leading for your club. And yet following that, you had the bye week. And then with just this past Saturday, the opportunity to go and play at home again against a very good Rio Grande Valley team that you ended up knocking off 1-0. So for you and this club so far, I know it's been a great start, but clearly Diego's had a big role in that in the late stages of both of these matches.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a decent start for the team. We've progressed in each game. There's only been 2 games, but we've seen improvement as we go through, and there's a maturity to our performance against RGV where we want to score more goals, but we really controlled the game. And part of that control is, the subs we made, they came on and did well. Aiden came on and offered us something. Diego and Leandro came on a little bit later and offered us something. So it's really a team effort. It's not just 11 guys. All 18 have to be ready to play their part. And sometimes it's 5 minutes and sometimes it's 90 minutes. But I always say that 5 minutes was just as important as the other 85. So it's a team effort, and all the guys have been doing great.
Diego, are there some of the team, the players that have kind of taken you under their wing early on and just made you feel more and more comfortable as you get acclimated to this life?
Yeah, but to be honest, every single person on the team has helped me in their own specific ways, whether it be giving me advice, whether it be a little banter and stuff like that. But I think Richie Ryan, of course, and Mishak and Yuma have taken me under their wing and always give me the right advice at the right time, and always they understand, because I feel like they were at a point in their life similar to mine and stuff like that, so they can kind of relate on things and give me advice and pros and cons to things I'm doing on and off the field.
I love it. It's a great answer. And we get right back to more of the Mark Lowry Show as we continue right now with Coach Lowry and special guest Diego Luna here on the program. All right, gentlemen, great job as we began the hour talking a little bit about Diego's story and what brought him here to El Paso. Coach, I'll be the first to tell you, physically, Diego Luna does not look like a 17-year-old soccer player. He looks like somebody that would be in his mid-20s, in the prime of his career. And again, that's something that also impressed me when I saw Diego for the first time work out. We were discussing him prior to bringing him on today, was just how physically mature he is for someone his age.
Yeah, I think that's helped him as well acclimate to senior football. He's physically able to handle himself and look after himself. He doesn't get thrown around. He's strong. And he'll be the first to admit he's probably a little bit too heavy when he got in, but with the training he's been doing every day, he's actually slimmed down. He's in great shape now, but he's got that strength and that physicality about him. And a big part of Diego's game is holding defenders off and spinning them and using his body to get past them. And he definitely uses his body well. So I think that's another reason with his character and his mentality, but the physicality that he has allows him to step into men's football, which is a big difference from 17, 18-year-olds to big guys. And he's going up against the Mishaks and people like that every day. He's definitely physically strong enough to be able to step in and do well.
Diego, how much has weight training been part of your regimen over the last few years? And when did you really start to see yourself grow physically?
Yeah, so I think weight training and a lot of, like body weight activities and stuff like that has been helping me the most. And coming here is a lot of nutrition and stuff that has helped me the most, and what is going to continue helping me throughout this year, because I'm not where I want to be at, yet, but I'm getting there. And I think where I matured the most, I believe, was last year. I had an injury where, I gained weight and stuff like that, where I couldn't play and had surgery. But after that, that's where I gained weight. But then after that, I felt like mentality, grew a lot. So I knew I needed to do something and step up. And I knew, I wanted to continue playing and be the fittest I can so injuries don't happen.
Tell me more about the Barca Academy for you out there at Casa Grande and what that did to really get your game to prepare yourself for where it's at right now.
Yeah, definitely. So the Barca Academy is a very isolated place there in Casa Grande, Arizona. So there's not really any distractions for you. You go there just to play soccer. You focus on soccer in school. It's all you really have and stuff like that. And then our schedule is really, strict, where we have soccer, gym, and school. That's basically all we do every day. So it's kind of like it prepares you very well. And I particularly last year was the best year I think that I grew as a person, and also my physical and technical attributes.
Who do you play while you're out there at Barca Academy?
So we played in the Developmental Academy League, the DA, and then now that turned into the new MLS Next League. And we play teams right this year because of the pandemic. We played teams locally in Arizona, and then now they started to play teams like, they play like some MLS academies, teams that still have that U19 age group, and then other local teams that were put into that league.
Mark, do you see this as a good feeder for future USL teams and start to see more and more clubs going to this type of academy level when they can grab players like a Diego that really could fit the bill?
Yeah, absolutely. And the FC Barca Academy, that's their ultimate goal. That they do a great job of getting guys like Diego into professional environments, and that when players are with their other MLS teams, it's difficult to pull them all away from that. But these independent academies, one such FC Barca, and Diego's team was actually ranked #1 in the country. That consistently beat MLS academy teams. And there's been a couple from that team that Diego's on that are in USL now. There's a couple of other kids that have gone on it and are going to have good careers. But it's definitely a pool of players that are really interesting to us. We brought them over just a couple of weeks ago again. We played against them in a friendly on our bye week to get another look at them. And there's a couple of kids there that are on a similar path to Diego. So it's a really exciting time to start building that bridge and that network and that connection with them. Because I think there's a future here and that's beneficial for both clubs.
Diego, what's the biggest adjustment for you so far as you've gone into the professional game?
To be honest, is maybe not the answer you'd be wanting to hear, but I think there's not really that much that's changed in my game. Every time I step on the field, it's not really a thing. I just play my game. And I think maybe the one thing that could have been different is, like Coach Mark said, how like the physicality and stuff like that. It's not as easy as just, jogging or running past guys and the defensive side of things. Like this is, the real deal and stuff like that. So everything's 100%.
What about going up against players that are just more physically mature and dealing with, you're going up against men. Some of these men are in their 20s, 30s and up, and going up against them. Have you always played against older competition?
Yeah, I grew up always playing in older age groups. And I think last year was the one year I played my own age group because that was the only way I had to be. I had to play 02, 03s, and I was in 03. So I think last year was my only year in my youth career that I've played my old age group. So I always knew how to adapt to playing against bigger, stronger, faster guys and stuff like that.
Mark, I like the confidence you're hearing from Diego. I mean, what it is it's almost quiet confidence. He's not really bragging, but he's just being honest. And I think that's something that helps, because when you're not psyched out and you go and make this jump and you don't feel like you're overmatched, you feel like you absolutely belong. That goes a long way into helping your performance out on the pitch.
Yeah, I think belief in your own ability goes a long way, particularly with young players that have to make that jump. If you don't believe in yourself, then you're probably not going to make it. And that comes down to mental toughness, being mentally strong. And a lot of players have got a lot of talent, but they never make it to the top. And the ones that do make it to the top are the ones that are mentally wired a little bit differently. Their belief is so strong, and their will and their desire really carries them through. So, we see elements of that in Diego.
What about the coaching style, Diego, and what you're seeing from the way this club plays on the field? Is that something that you've been accustomed to a lot during your career, or is it a little different than what you've been used to?
It's definitely something I've been accustomed to because, like I said, growing up playing under, my father and my brother, they saw the play style exactly how it is now, And when I went out to Barca, the play style is very similar to here in Paso. That passing, and we rarely hit long balls, and you know, a whole bunch of that stuff. And I think the play style has been, you know, very similar.
Coach, I'm fascinated by that answer because we talk all the time about how nobody at USL plays like this and how it's so different than a lot of the clubs we're used to seeing. And yet here's an example of how the club Barca plays like this and how it's something that Diego's always grown up with. So I guess it goes to show you that even though in a league like this, your style is not common, it's still a style that in this sport, a lot of players at a lot of different levels are very accustomed to.
Yeah, and we've never had a problem attracting players, whether young or old, to this club because they want to play. They want to play this type of football. The guys that we've kept here for the last 3 years are here because they want to play in this team. They want to play this way. So when you have a player like Diego, who in the FC Barca Academy, they have a very distinct style. Obviously, they follow the Barcelona model. It's all about the ball and playing out from the back and building through the thirds. And he comes here and we play a similar way. And the positioning is quite similar as well. You know, Diego's used to be like a false 9/10. That's what we have. The way we use our number 10, they get a lot of freedom to go and get on the ball with, you know, you've seen Dylan kind of popping up in all areas. So it's a perfect fit for Diego stylistically to come in and not feel overwhelmed. You know, he's used to this way of playing. He wants the ball at his feet, and our job is to kind of get the ball to his feet as much as possible.
Meanwhile, you look at the way things have gone thus far after the first few matches, and you said you've been pleased, although it's still very early in the season. As you've watched the way your team has come through so far and the end against New Mexico United and obviously holding on to beat NMU to beat Rio Grande Valley with the goalkeeping situation in flux as you were addressing it late last week. I'm sure you're pretty pleased overall with the way your club has responded. And obviously I want to talk more about goalkeeping later in the hour, but just how you got that first goal early on Saturday and were able to hold on the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, we got that early goal that wasn't expected. It came in a situation where you don't usually score from. Lucha did a good press and those foot on the ball and it went in. And from there, we controlled the game. And I was really happy with that part of it. That control, that composure usually happens later on in the season once guys are familiar with the system and they're fit and they're sharp and they're thinking a little bit more clearly on the field. But our guys showed great maturity, composure to see the game out. Because when you score early, it can actually be very difficult for you because now your mindset can shift a little bit from just playing to holding on. And we want to make sure that we're just playing the game at all times and to score early and continue to play our way and create more chances. And it showed the great mental strength of the group and the character of the group. And we just wanted more goals. That was the only thing that was lacking. We had 15 shots and we wished some of those could have turned into more goals for the fans and for ourselves.
Yeah, but on the flip side, they only had one shot. And you look at it that right there, that's just a testament to your defense. And by the way, when you watch the replay of this, I think what's clear here is it's really simple. Some will say, well, that was a lazy play by the goalkeeper. I look at it on exactly the opposite. Great hustle. It shows you that even when the goalkeeper has what they think is a routine kick, if you hustle to the ball, you can make a play. And that's exactly what ended up happening, which gave you your first goal.
Yeah, and we saw Lucho do that for San Antonio a lot last year, the way he presses the goalkeeper and how smart he is at that. He's a very intelligent presser. He's got a little bit of quickness, but it's really his brain that allows him to get in those areas and press with the right timing. And he almost lulls you into thinking you have time on the ball, but actually he's manipulating the situation to get the advantage. And he's a smart player. He showed his intelligence on that play. He was a real smart player.
Diego, what did you notice when you watched the replay and saw what Lucho was able to do to get that first goal on board?
Yeah, like Coach Mark said, he may not be the quickest, but he's got long legs. You know, he could cover ground fast and stuff like that. But it's a lot of, definitely, determination and hustle that got him this goal. And it shows a lot about him, specifically as he was the one going by himself to press that and look at the result.
At the same time, 15-1, Coach, that's a huge number for you when you look at the shots on goal between the two teams, and it really tells you something about it. And sure, you won more than just one, but your defense was, again, able to do it against a really good team that's been off to their best start since we've really seen them in this league. I mean, they won every match up until now and looked like they were just getting better and better, and you put the clamps on them Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, it's a credit to the whole 11. I mean, the way we defend, it's from the goalkeeper all the way to the forwards. It starts with Lucho and Aaron up there, and Dylan and Diego in the 10 spot. You know, it's a team effort, and we defend really well as a team, and we've got better again this season at it. And we expect there's an expectation that most of our games will look like that, where we really limit the opponent in terms of their shots and chances. And when the opponent's only getting one shot on goal, you're probably going to win more games than you lose because you're not giving them the opportunities to win themselves. So it's a great team effort. Everyone played their part in that, and really happy with how we defend as a group.
And as we continue here on the Mark Lowry Hour with special guest Diego Luna, we're back right now talking Locomotive FC with both Coach Lowry and with one of the newest members of the team, and Diego. Coach, let's talk about the goalkeeping situation. Logan Ketter has been terrific in Portland, and can't really say we're too surprised. We saw this the last 2 seasons. We know what he's capable of. He had that spectacular debut, followed up with another clean sheet, and clearly you mentioned it was a short-term loan, but hey, when things go well, short-term can change a little bit, which could also mean a financial gain for your club. And you were very quick to fill the void at goal. You added a couple of veteran netminders and ultimately had to plan for the future, not knowing what's going to happen right now with Logan really out of Portland.
Yeah, Logan's done great. I'm really happy for him, that the whole group's happy for him. We're paying attention, we're watching him, we're supporting him. And I said when we let him go, I said to the group that, you know, we're in this as a team. You know, we want to win games as a team, but we always have to think of each other as individuals as well. And if opportunities like this come up for you guys, we're going to support you. And it's a great thing for your career. It's a great thing for your family. And we're not a club that's going to hold people back, but we also need to make sure that we're winning games here and we're doing the right thing here. And I was confident, first of all, in the group that we have, that without Logan, we could still go and win games and keep clean sheets. And I was also, you know, confident that we had a little bit of time with the bye week, where if we needed to go get another goalie in, we had time to do that. So it kind of all lined up to where I felt comfortable in allowing Logan to do this. It's a great thing for him. And I had a confidence in the team that this wouldn't affect what we're doing here, and we'll continue to put points on the board and win games ourselves. And you saw that. It was seamless, really. You know, Adrian came in. We defended well. We restricted them to one shot, which we do. That's how we work. That's how we defend. And we got the 3 points ourselves. So right now, everything's going well for everybody. Logan's doing well, and we're winning here.
Absolutely, which is what really matters for you, because as you mentioned, you were able to add, you know, other players to this roster. And you mentioned Adrian Zendejas and what he was able to do. Somebody that also is a 25-year-old, has USL experience. And that's what you wanted. You wanted veterans, and yet at the same time, how difficult was it for you to know that when you don't have a ton of time and you want to bring in somebody that you feel confident with, that can come in here and do the job on relatively short notice, there were enough quality players in the pool to choose from?
Yeah, like I said, the bye week allowed us that time to kind of look around a little bit, and you know, we have a couple of young goalkeepers here, you know, that were behind Logan. And I just felt with Marco's loan situation at Juarez coming to, you know, from Juarez coming to an end in the next few days, we got to work through some things there. And he's only 19, and it's so early in the season. You know, maybe if Marco had been with us for another 6 months, you know, he'd been more comfortable and ready to step in. I just felt so early in the year, the team needed, you know, we needed a little bit more experience behind them in the goal. So we worked hard for, you know, 5, 6, 7 days, you know, reaching out to a lot of MLS clubs, speaking about other goalkeepers, seeing who was out there. And Ben Burry, who was in the league last year at Reno, played every game for Reno last season, was available. And then Adrian, you know, Zendejas at Minnesota. Minnesota have been great again. We obviously had Brent Coleman here last year from Minnesota, so we have that relationship with them. Allowing Adrian to come in and get some games well. So I felt with Ben coming in, with Adrian coming in, kind of the unknowns with Marco, and frankly the unknowns with Logan, right? While Logan's not here, we have to act like he's not here. We have to protect ourselves, we have to protect the team, we have to do what's right for us. And I felt bringing those two in really secured our future in that position while things are still kind of unknown.
Could you see Ben and Adrian almost splitting time as you get ready to hit the road and have some big matches coming up before you return home in a few weeks?
Well, potentially, because obviously when you have people on loan, just like, Logan being on loan to Portland right now, Logan can come back here. Adrian at some point could get called back to Minnesota. When you have players on loan, you always have that in the back of your mind. Like, what if they get called back? Do I have a plan B? Do I have somebody, just behind that can step in kind of at short notice? And I felt like that with Ben. Like, look, if Adrian gets called back, we have Ben. If Logan comes back next week, now we've got 3. So I'd rather have more goalies than no goalies at this present time.
No doubt. Hey, by the way, I watched the video and they showed you in the black tie with the black shirt, which leads me to this question on Twitter from El Paso Visuals. He wants to know, Coach, if you're going to stick to the black on black, is this the reason superstitious for goals coming either at the last 30 seconds of stoppage time or the first 30 seconds of the match? Is it about the black on black, as El Paso Visuals is asking right now? And there's a great shot of it. You got the black pants, the black shirt, the black tie. It's pretty much what it is right now. So tell me about how the superstitious version of Mark Lowry is going to go into play when you hit the road.
I mean, well, we're winning games, right? We're playing well. I mean, the staff are all in black behind. It kind of fits. Diego Simone, the Atletico Madrid coach, I'm a big fan of his. He wears this black suit. It's, he looks smart. It's ready for business. The sleeves are rolled up,
Yep.
We're ready to go, ready to play, ready to fight and win games.
Well, you got a black belt and you got a black watch. I mean, you've completely accessorized yourself. I'm sure you've got black shoes on, but you don't see that. But I'm sure that's the case too, right? So, all right. So that's the plan right now. When it comes to traveling on the road, you're going to stay with that. And it's important because if we look at the schedule right now and what's coming up, and I'll talk more about this here in a minute with you, but you're not going back home again until what? July, like the second week of July. So really June the 9th will be your Indy 11 match. So you've got the next 2 on the road. Sunday was Sporting KC and then Austin about 5 days later. So on Thursday, June the 3rd. So it's important when you look at the schedule. Now we're going to see how this team is tested on the road.
Yeah, I think it's come at the right time as well. We've got a couple of games under our belt now. We can hit the road, and we've got a Sunday, Thursday game with a quick turnaround. So you might see other people getting, some time on the field because we have to manage minutes and legs and things. So I think it's come at a good time for us. And if we can come out of this kind of 2-game swing on the road still unbeaten, it sets up nice for them for a little home game against Indy. And home games we're always confident. So if you start looking like that, and we've got a job to do, but if we can stick to the plan and stay consistent with our work, we can come out of these 2 games unbeaten, and that means you're 4 unbeaten on the season. You start to build this momentum, and I think that's kind of the plan going forward. So we're looking forward to it, getting on the road. It's come at a good time for us, and we're gonna attack it and play our game.
I was going to say, you haven't been as far out as Kansas City so far in these first 2 years, have you?
No, I mean, last year was pretty restricted because of, the travel and COVID, and, heading a little bit further east is always fun. And it'll be good. We play at a nice stadium. It'll be a nice pitch. We're a team that, enjoys a good surface. So we'll get that at their stadium up there in Kansas, and it'll be a good game.
All right, let's come back and we'll wrap things up with you here in just a minute. Welcome back, everybody. Steve Kaplowitz here along with Mark Lowry and Diego Luna as we get ready to wrap things up over the last segment of the hour. My thanks again to both Coach Lowry and Diego for joining us on the show. All right, Diego, I got to get back to you for a second because we've talked a lot with Coach about the goalkeeping situation in the club. Fans have yet to really see you in extended action. So they've seen you coming in the late stages of both home matches, and you've obviously delivered. How would you describe your game best so that as fans see more and more of you on the pitch, give them an idea of really what to expect when you're out there?
Yeah, so I'm a type of player. I love the ball to my feet. I love having the ball. I love creating chances, and I love scoring goals. I like to be I'm very creative. I do a lot of, moves and find little slip passes and stuff like that. So I think, and 2 of my favorite players are Marco Reus, where he has a little bit of flair for Borussia Dortmund, and then Andres Iniesta, which is kind of like the controlling and type of, side of my game.
Coach, what do you think about it? You got a playmaker who likes the ball, wants the ball, and wants to do spectacular things with the ball when he has an opportunity.
Yeah, we've seen glimpses of it. We've seen glimpses in training. We've seen some stuff during the preseason. We saw some magic against New Mexico to create the chance, that he had, and he came on this past weekend and showed good quality on the ball as well. So, he definitely has that. That definitely stands out. There's a lot more to football than just that at the pro level, and Diego's learning that side of the game as well and how important those things are. And if he can put it all together, which we know he will, with patience, with time, with hard work, once it all comes together for him, we know he's got special ability. We know he's going to do well, and it's exciting for us to see it.
Especially when you told us that really your list this offseason was to go out and get guys that have the ability to put the ball in the back of the net. That was really one of your number one concerns this offseason, to address that need for you.
Yeah, and Solniak, Apodaca, guys like that, definitely do that. And then you have someone like Diego, who's just a little bit, underneath them. He's not an out-and-out forward, but he has the ability to create and score goals and add that creativity to our game. And Dylan as the other number 10, they can work with each other. They can replace each other. It gives good competition for places. And Diego's made us a better team already. And that really is what this is all about. When players come in, it's their job to make the group better. And Diego's definitely done that.
Meanwhile, let me ask you then about Sporting KC, who you'll see on Sunday, Coach. They have struggled this season out of the gate, and that could mean two things. Obviously, it's a team that is hurting right now, and you probably get him at a really good time. They're also a team that's trying to break out, and they're hoping that you'll be that opportunity on Sunday. So you see it, I'm sure, both directions, but a good way to get the club motivated to get out there and have a big performance for you on the road.
Yeah, I mean, these MLS2 teams, can be dangerous. You expect as the experienced team to go in there and win, but these younger players, they play with energy. They can be inconsistent, which means they can be unpredictable, and they can do some good things. And they can do some inexperienced things and make mistakes. So you just never know which team you're going to get. So we're prepared for anything. We know it's not going to be easy. Playing away from home is never easy. But we have to go there and show them that we're a top team, just like I said against RGV. RGV are coming to our home. We need to show RGV what a top team looks like. And we have to go there to Sporting KC and do the same. Show Sporting KC what a top team in the West look like.
4 days later, you go play Austin Bold FC. They've got an MLS team right now, and yet this team, like you's only played 2 matches so far. They're yet to win, so they'll be in that similar spot like KC, looking to try to get off the schneid when they see you a week from Thursday.
Yeah, they're another dangerous team. Austin Bold have got a lot of individual ability throughout the team. And when they put it all together, they can be dangerous. But if they don't put it together, you can definitely beat them. So another team that we have to be aware of. It won't be easy away from home. They're an experienced team with a lot of individual ability, like I said, a lot of dangerous players. But our job is to come back to El Paso after these 2 games with an unbeaten record still.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Matter of fact, we won't talk to you again for a couple of weeks, so we'll get a chance to recap both of those road matches and get you ready for the return at home when you take on Indy 11. Coach Diego, thank you for the time. Best of luck on the road, and we appreciate your time, as always, joining us here on the Mark Lowry Hour.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Diego. Thanks, Steve.
You got it. Thank you, Coach.